maybe recording can stop and then start later, right?
ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ ब्रह्मविदाप्नोति परम् तदेशाभ्युक्ता सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म यो वेदनिहितं गुहायां परमे व्योमन् सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् सह ब्रह्मणा विपश्चितेति. So, is the volume and everything okay? Are you able to hear?
Yes, Swamini.
Okay. So this is the there's some strange background with people there also. I don't know what this is, but anyhow, for now you can just ignore that and we'll carry on with the class. Now, we saw yesterday that there was an objection. We are looking into this objection. So let us look at the objection, Mr. Nanu. And so what is this Nanu? Nanu says that look, the gist of the objection we will see, and then we will look at the word by word, and then we will look at the response given by Adi Shankara. Very, very nicely done. Okay. So the objection is very cleverly worded, and the answer is even cleverer. Why? Because in the answer, Adi Shankara does a martial arts move by using that person's objections against themselves. So this is what is done. We'll see that. It's very, very nice, like a little judo move. And, like you see in the movies and everything, especially in some kind of a comical situations, what happens, this very big, strong person and this tiny, wiry fellow. Both of them come and then they bow and then they bow again and they are getting ready to do this thing. I mean, when that huge fellow is not looking, his own strength is used against him by that small, wiry person who looks so weak. And so, like this, it is there. So, let us understand the objection. I have given the gist of it, but let us understand what it's trying to say. Nanu, Visheshyam Visheshanantaram Vyabhicharat Visheshyate Yatha Neelam Raktam Cha Utpalam Iti. So, this is the objection. So, let us not get worried about a lot of words at the same time. Let us just take the verb Visheshyate. And then what Visheshyate? Visheshyate means is qualified. What Visheshyate? What is qualified? Visheshyam Visheshyate. That's all we'll take. Okay. So first, for now, we'll just say Visheshyam. We'll just take the subject and the object. Visheshyam, Visheshyate. Visheshyam here we have already seen that which is to be qualified, meaning the substantive, a noun. So Visheshyam here, noun, Visheshyate is a noun is qualified. He says, who now the objector, the Purva Pakshi says, the noun is qualified. How is the noun qualified? Visheshanantaram vyabhicharat visheshyate. So how is it qualified? It is qualified Visheshanantaram vyabhicharat. Vyabhicharat means negating, dismissing. So dismissing what? Visheshanantaram, dismissing other attributes, negating other attributes. Like supposing I say blue lily, then I'm negating the red lily. I'm negating the purple lily. I'm negating the yellow lily. That is all that is meant here. Visheshyam, Visheshanantaram, Visheshyate. And so how Visheshyate? Vyabhicharat Visheshyate, meaning dismissing that another attribute which does not belong here, then it is qualified. And then he himself is going to give the example, yatha neelam raktam cha utpalam iti. Like we say red lily, blue lily, etc. So if you say blue lily, red is excluded. And then if you say red lily, all other colors are excluded. Like this, this is how a Visheshana works. And then he says, yatha anekani yatha hi, sorry, not yatha, yada hi अनेकानि द्रव्याणि एकजातीयानि अनेक विशेषण योगिनी yogini cha. And so this is the next thing that is there. So Neelam Utpalam, we saw that, Raktam Utpalam, etc. And then so the substantive is qualified by a certain Visheshana. And when is that possible? This is possible when there is anekani dravyani. Why? Because yada, when there are many substantives, aneka visheshana yogini cha. This yogini is not, a female yoga practitioner, okay? Yeah. So it's the neuter, prathama, what is that? Plural. That is bahuvachanam. So it's like vari, varini, varini. Okay. So yogam here. So yogi here, and then yogini, yogini. Aneka visheshana yogini cha. Meaning, yogini means that which joins. So that which is connected to. So it is connected to many other objects or many other attributes because it has this distinguishing capacity. It has the distinguishing variety. And so it's connected to many attributes and many connections are there with other things that it is going to differentiate, with similar things just like it, which is going to differentiate. And so like supposing if there are, cows from some kind of a cloning experiment. And then what happens to those cows? Those cows, they will all have 5 or 6, patches, black patches. They will all have the patches in the same place, in the same way, because they're all obviously cloned. But still, there might be some differences. So that's why this from this different standpoints, the vastu is differentiated. Any vastu is differentiated. That is what he's pointing out. And even if the things are the same, the cow in P1, place 1, is different from the cow in place 2. So you can even say deshatah, the adjective, the visheshana here works. Okay. And so like this, so there is all kinds of things, so aneka visheshana yogini. And then then what? They can be, but then are we distinguishing a cow from a tree? No. That's why the next word, ekajatiyani, ekajatiyani, meaning we are distinguishing things within a particular group, a species. That is the point of the adjective within the particular jati. And remember, we saw the definition of the Visheshana earlier. स्वजातीयेभ्यः अन्येभ्यः विषयेभ्यः व्यावर्तकं विशेषणं. We saw that. And so that's what he's unpacking that. So then anekani dravyani yada bhavanti. So when there are many dravyas and when there are many, aneka visheshana yogini. So when there are many dravyas, calling for, many words to distinguish, because one word is not enough, and then but they all belong to the same class. Then what? Visheshanasya arthavatvam. Arthavatta asti visheshana, for the visheshana, there is arthavatvam. Meaning, arthavatvam means purpose, meaningfulness. A visheshana, has got a certain, meaning, a certain place, only when the visheshana is useful. In other words, only when it is able to distinguish a substantive from all other substantives belonging to the same jati, same species, which are having different kinds of attributes. Like what? Like the white lily, blue lily, red lily. Therefore, you can use the colors to distinguish one given lily from another lily. Then the Visheshana is successful. Then it is happy. The Visheshana is happy. Oh, I'm having some use here. I'm so glad. And I am being used. So there is purpose for the Visheshana, Arthavatvam asti, for this attribute. Now he points out, suppose aneka dravyas, meaning many objects are not there. Then why do you need an adjective? And that's why he says, ekasmin eva vastuni visheshanantaram ayogat. Visheshanantara ayogat. Ayoga means no, there is no purpose here. Vyartha, useless. So, ekasmin vastuni, in one thing itself, then there is not a possibility for another visheshana. When there is only one, like I pointed this out yesterday, if you have one child, you cannot say, please meet my tall son. And that makes no sense. Then people will be looking around, where is the short son? Because you are already making a thing here, and same thing, you can't, when there's only one of a kind, this tall son and, thin daughter, all these things do not have any use. Arthavatvam, is not there at all. Nobody talks like that unless they are little soft in the head. That's the only reason to talk like that. Okay, so nobody talks like that. And so this necessity for such adjective, even if somebody is a verbose person, verbose means is given to too many words, still they don't talk like that. So nahi means nasyat, nasyat, visheshanasya arthavatvam nasyat. That's what he's trying to say. There's only one object and you do not require to qualify that object at all. Why? Visheshanantara ayoga. Ayoga means it doesn't fit. Yatha ekah asau adityah. Like even there is one sun. Now here we are not talking of S-O-N. What are we talking about? S-U-N. One sun. And so, do you say things like, do you say things like, oh, please look at the round sun? Does anybody talk like that? That means what? If anybody says that, immediately the feeling is there must be a square sun. Or what else? Triangular sun. And from which very thought is silly. So triangular sun, square sun, pentagon sun, and all these this is not necessary to say, please see the circular sun. The mind only must be going in circles to talk like that, because it is not it is not it is not there. So but we can still, just for the sake of, I'm going to make a little digression here, but for the sake of observing certain changes, we can say upadhi changes. We can say morning sun, soft sun, bright sun. Bright means during the noon, really bright sun, and then cool evening sun. We can talk about it like that. But that doesn't really, that is again not quite a Vishesha. It is more of a description. No, and it's not trying to distinguish, when you say midday sun, evening sun, all this, there is a difference. And a qualification is there, but still here, what we are talking about is that if there is a particular substantive and there's only one thing, then there is Visheshanantara Ayoga, because all the attributes are not there. So why does it need qualification? One Aditya. So sun jati is not available unless you are in space. And there is one Bada sun, the Dada. Dada means grandfather of our sun. And its name is Betelgeuse. Yeah, Betelgeuse. And this Betelgeuse, in front of our sun, if you put Betelgeuse, our sun is smaller than small, as small as a small mung bean. Yeah, that's what it is. Our sun, the oval shape, no, but round little mung bean size. And then the other one is the Betelgeuse is huge. Our sun is as good as a small dot in front of this Betelgeuse. So then if we are talking like that, then you can have more than one sun. But here we are only talking in relation to our own solar system. And then so what is the problem here? What is, how can you use an adjective? What is the reason for an adjective? No, I'm talking of sun jati. What jati? You're not talking of all the suns, blue dwarf, yellow dwarf. Then you can say red dwarf. Those suns, those are all, from the standpoint of space. You can say that there are many, 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 many kinds of suns. But here we are only talking from the standpoint of Prithvi, our Earth. And then, so how many suns are there? And sometimes, the planet, some planets have two suns. Here, that is not the case. And so, ekaha asau adityaha. So, there is no sun jati. And so, there is it is not subject to adjectives. And then what's the point of this Purva Paksha? Will you please get to the point? You're keeping on talking. Yeah, I'm getting to the point. Similarly, there is only one Brahman. Just like there is one sun alone, one Brahman alone is there. And it's not that there are many Brahmans. What are you talking about, many Brahmans? This one Brahman alone, I don't know. Okay, I barely know. I'm struggling here. What is Satyam? What is Anantam? What is Jnanam, etc. And here you are talking of many Brahmans. Brahmantaram. Where is this? Where is many, many Brahman? Another Brahman is not there. Not a single Brahman we know. And so there is only one Brahman which we are trying to understand. There is no other Brahman. Tasmat tatha ekameva Brahma. Yatha ekah asau adityah. Just like we have this one sun, there is one Brahman. And then na brahmantarani. Not many Brahmans are there. Yebhyah visheshyeta. Yebhyah means brahmabhyah. So yebhyah means because of which how they are qualified. So we don't have many Brahmans from which this Brahman has to be qualified. And so therefore, how can there be Visheshanas? How can there be adjectives? The word Satchidananda or Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma cannot be adjectives at all. Why? The argument is very pakka. Another Brahman not being there. If it is there, of course, from this Brahman, Yajna, it has to be distinguished. From those Brahmans, this Brahman has to be distinguished. So then, this Brahma, in that case, Visheshyeta, Visheshyam Brahma, Visheshyeta. But like even Nilot Palavat, Visheshyeta, Satyam Jnanadi, Padaihi. With the word Satyam Jnanam, etc., like a blue lotus, it would be qualified. Well, you know, then we use a judo move over the Purva Pakshi. First, we agree with them. Yes, you have a point. Even we also talk of only one Brahman, one alone, and that too without a second. Ekameva dvitiyam Brahma, and then one Brahman, and that, so therefore, perhaps these adjectives, this has to be said in sotto voice. Perhaps these adjectives are not meant for what? They are not meant for qualifying. Oh, really? Then what are they meant for? They are meant for revealing that one single vastu. Maybe they are not qualificatory at all. Who said they are qualificatory? No, but you said Visheshanas. Yes, grammatically Visheshanas. Yes, I did say that. But here we are not, grammar is only just one of the many things we are going to transcend in the process of understanding this Brahman. We start with the grammar. We start with the rules. We start with the, what is that? The nomenclatures, the epithets. This is called an adjective. It has an adjectival function, linguistically speaking. But really, it is more, to give away the plot, it is more of a, lakshana and lakshya, not visheshana visheshya bhava sambandha between the words satyam jnanam anantam and brahma, but it is more of a lakshana lakshya bhava sambandha. It is the words are more defining in nature and descriptive in nature rather than qualificatory. They are not distinguishing things. They are not qualifying Brahman. They are not singing praises of Brahman or giving an attribute. No, they are just there to reveal. And so, yes, you yourself said, Ek asau ekaha aditya katham visheshyeta. How you yourself said, very clear, very wonderful, you are correct. Ayushyaman Bhava, may you live long and healthy and happy. You are right. You have yourself given us how to refute this argument. So, Katham Brahma Visheshyeta, how is Brahman going to be qualified? Well, we have to say here that every time you see a Samanadhikaranyam, because how did this Visheshana and Visheshya Bhava Sambandha come? Because of Padanam Samanadhikaranyam, which means what? The between the padas, between the words, there is a what is that called? The apposition. All the words are neuter, all the words are masculine. Sorry, all the words are neuter, all the words are singular, like this, and nominative. And so therefore, there is an apposition. Whenever there is an apposition between the words, between three words, then it is padarthana. The meaning of the words is to describe something as an adjective. Just like, the Rama, the hero, who is also the son of Dasharatha. What else? Ramaha, Dasharathihi, Veeraha, Kodandapanihi. So these are all not trying to distinguish Rama. They're all adjectival in usage, definitely, because they are all masculine. They are all nominative. Rama Kodandapanihi. Kodandapanihi means holding a bow called Kodanda in his hand. Dasharathihi, son of Dasharatha. But then there may be many sons of Dasharatha. Then we say Janaki Vallabha, the beloved of Mother Sita. So this is Rama. Here we are not, this is not exactly distinguishing Rama. This is more describing Rama. We are defining Rama and describing Rama. We are not trying to, there are not many Ramas. Like so many Ramas are there. Balarama is there, Parashurama is there. And then what other Rama is there? Shapad Rama is there. Shapad Rama means foodie Rama, who loves to eat. Okay, so we are not trying to distinguish this Rama. We are just trying to, sing the praises of Lord Rama, who is the son of Dasharatha, who is this, who is that, etc., etc. And so, therefore, so it doesn't necessarily, whenever there are words in apposition, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is Visheshana, Visheshya, there is a connection between some kind of a qualified qualifier and some kind of an adjectival, is not, connection need not be there. Need not be there. Here, what is it is Lakshana. There is only one thing. And anything you talk about that thing, anything you say can only go to revealing that thing, nothing else. And therefore, what does Bhashyakara say? Na, na ayam dosha. Na means not really. This is not whatever you are saying is not pertinent here at all. Na. Why? Lakshanarthatvat visheshanana. Lakshanarthatvat visheshanana. Because all the Visheshanas are really meant to serve as a defining words. Because they all are looking at one particular vastu. They are all those Visheshanas, all those words which have an adjectival function have got Ekavastu Vishaya. The Vishaya, the Visheshya is only one. That which is to be revealed is only one. And then if that is only one, or not even one of a kind, only one without a second, then the Visheshanas turn into Lakshana. Lakshana means what? Definition. They are words that reveal. Actually, as I said yesterday, the word definition is also not such a good word. You're not really defining Brahman because it's not an object that you have to know. You just simply have to use, you simply indicate it because it is you. And not only because it is you, two, one, it is you. Two, it is not an object other than you. Three, it is self-revealing, so it doesn't need to be objectified. So for these three reasons, the Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Ityadi, Padaihi, by these words, Brahma Lakshyate. Brahman is revealed. Visheshyam Sat Lakshyate. Even though it is that which is a substantive, it is Lakshyate, it is indicated. Visheshyam therefore turns into Lakshyam and Visheshana becomes Lakshana. Therefore, Visheshana Visheshya Bhava Sambandha is converted into what? Lakshana Lakshya Bhava Sambandha. This is what it is. That is what is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. These three words are indicatory words that reveal your nature. And Brahman becomes that which is revealed. Lakshanasya arthavatvam asti. But these lakshanas they are meaningful because having studied the Taittiriya Upanishad, you go away, skipping, jumping, and happy. That's very different from how you came. How did you come? I kind of dragged myself, and it was terrible. My life was going badly. That's why I'm here. and nothing else is working. So I thought, let me try this, and that's why I'm here. Why me? And even this also may not work. Like this, one came to the class, and then it works. Arthavatvam asti. Why? Because one, leaves the class skipping, jumping, happy, very, 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 very happy. And so therefore this arthavatvam is there. And this arthavatvam, I tell you, is also this, one of the conditions of why something is a pramana. This is one of the conditions. It's really fascinating. So, anadhigatam, bodhakam, and arthavat. Arthavat, it should be meaningful. So, whatever you study should be meaningful to your life. And if you tell me what am I going to do with this big knowledge of what is Visheshana and what is Lakshana, how is it going to be meaningful in my life? You just wait and see. You wait and see. At the very least, you can become very popular in potlucks and parties. You can say, I know the difference between Visheshana and Lakshana, and impress a few people. And secondly, because of this distinction, because you know this distinction, you know how to approach the rest of the text. This is a key. These are the cliff notes to the Taittiriya Brahmananda Valli. These are the notes which make the Valli very easy to decode. So this is the key with which the rahasya, the secret doors of Satyam Jnanam Anantam, and how this is Brahman, and how this Brahman is Brahmatma, myself, that is what is going to be revealed, provided we know how to read this Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Otherwise, if we have a Visheshana orientation, we are stuck. We are badly stuck, I tell you. Because then otherwise, all kinds of questions like the one the Purva Pakshi asked will keep on coming. And so therefore, even though technically, from the standpoint of what? From the standpoint of the words, they have an adjectival function. They are technically adjectives, but they become lakshana. And that which is revealed, Brahman, becomes Lakshya. They are not simple adjectives. They are not Swarupa Visheshanani. They are not Swarupa Visheshanas. They are not simple adjectives. They are Lakshana Visheshana. This is what it is. It's a the Lakshana, therefore, is a subset of Visheshana. And so they are Lakshana Vakyani. And so they are Lakshana Vishesha. So therefore, na ayam doshaha. And then, and he points this out. Lakshanartha pradhanani visheshanani na visheshana pradhanani eva. Lakshanartha pradhanani means these visheshanas, even though we call them adjectives linguistically, Brahman being the one and only thing that is there, they are obviously not trying to distinguish Brahman from other Brahmans. They are Lakshanartha Pradhanani Padani. They have the Pradhanya, the Mukhya Prayojana of these words. This Vakya is only in the form of an indicatory word, no other meaning. And so therefore, Lakshanartham eva pradhanam, this Mukhya Tatparya, this is what is there. So that is what it is. Lakshanartham eva pradhanam yesham tani visheshanani. So Lakshanartha pradhanani visheshanani. So the main purpose of these words, visheshanas, are meant only in a revelatory sense. And to reveal, what do you need to reveal? You need words to reveal. Otherwise, how are you going to reveal? You need words. You're not in a magic show. And you just take out Brahman from a hat. Well, Brahman is not an object you take out from a hat. So this is not a magic show. We are taking out scarves from a hat, and then people get bored of seeing scarves. And then what? Suddenly, the magician will take out a rabbit and from the hat. This is not like that. This is not like that at all. This is, we need words. Otherwise, how will you reveal something? Whether it's a secret or whether it's something not known because it's right in front of you, it cannot be objectified. How will you reveal? You know what? This is how you start talking. You know what? If it's a secret, I never knew that so and so, did this, they did so much charity in their spare time. They never talk about it. They are so modest. I just accidentally found out. So now you have revealed something about this very quiet person in society who doesn't put themselves in front, who is very humble, who is just very, low key. And then suddenly you found out because of through some mutual acquaintances, let us say, what did you find out? That they are on boards of some important organizations, charitable organizations. They do a lot. They have given away nearly all their wealth and they continue to give. So then you see them in a very different light. So if you want to share this information, you have found out one lakshana about them, you have found out a revelation about them, and then you want to share it with a friend. How will you say you're not going to use miming? It's not like Pictionary. And then you tell them, okay, I'm talking of somebody. I'm talking of the so and so. First you guess their name, two words, and then you keep enacting. That's not what you do. You use words and then you say, so and so. Yeah, I know them very well. The other person says, and then you build up a little bit of a suspense. What do you think they are in their, everyday life? Well, they're a little quiet, yeah. And and then you drop the bombshell. This is what I found out. How do you reveal this? Through words alone. So, this is what it is. So again, you are revealing words which are in all in nominative case, which are in apposition. That is what it is. Just like I gave you that example. Lord Rama, if you want to reveal, you say Atma Ramaha, that which the one who resides in my heart, Dasharathihi, the son of Dasharatha, Kodandapanihi, Ajanubahu. Ajanubahu means it is said that when he stood, his hands, reached below his knees. So he could easily scratch his ankle standing up. So this was Lord Rama. Okay, so these are all lakshanas. And then, and so here, in the same way, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Lakshanartha Pradhanani Visheshanani Na Visheshana Pradhanani Eva. So, how would it be Visheshana Pradhanani in this Rama example? Suppose you wanted to distinguish Rama from other Ramas, then it would be Visheshana Pradhanani. But here, the same Rama you are talking about in many, many different ways. If there is only one Rama, you are talking about this Rama, you are revealing Lord Rama. And so, this is what it is. And so, then, Adi Shankara asks a question. All right, you know what? Adi Shankara says, he doesn't say this, but he would have said this if he knew this expression. What would he have said? He would have said, do you know what is the meaning of hair splitting? Yeah, okay, looks like that's what you're doing over here. First, you describe it. You agreed that they are Visheshanas. And then when you were caught by my question, then now you are turning them into Lakshanas. And then you gave a definition of Visheshana. And then you gave the Lakshana of Lakshana. And then what are you trying to do here? Why this hair splitting thing? You keep splitting the hair not once, but twice, but 3 times. With some very barik, very minute tools. You keep splitting the hair. Why? What is the use of this? And in Sanskrit also we have a word. What is that? Pishtasya Peshadam. There is Pishta means a powder. There's already you have some powder. Like you have your atta. Atta, wheat, you have sent it to the mill and ground it and brought it back. It's in a fine powder. And then somebody starts to grind that again. What is the use? Like this, you are just beating this, flogging this horse. That's, of this Lakshana Visheshana. And then, you are just, this is just some kind of a funny verbal jugglery. And it is like as though you have some kind of a disease of exactitude. Like some people are there, they have this, they are very, very exact. You tell them, please bring me some water. There is half a cup of water I have kept on the kitchen counter. Can you please bring it to me? So they will go and then they will come back from the kitchen empty handed. What happened? Actually, it's not half a cup of water. It is a little less than half and a little more than one fourth. And so, this is the kind of a situation. And so here, this is what are you trying to do? This Visheshana is Visheshana and this Lakshana is Lakshana. What are you trying to do here? What is this? What is this verbal? Some kind of a, some kind of a, you're showing off your verbal prowess. What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to accomplish? And so, in that vein, he asked the question, Kaf punaha, Lakshana Lakshanayoho, Visheshana Visheshayoho va Visheshaha. What is the difference? Then again, Kaf punaha, what is the difference between Lakshana and Lakshana and Visheshana or Visheshana? What is this? What are you trying to do here? What is the, Visheshana means what? What is the distinguished feature? What is the feature of Lakshana Lakshya and Visheshana Visheshya? What is the difference? You can just, you please tell me the difference. Why do you have to, why do you have to say this, meaning, what is the distinguishing feature between the qualifier qualified, Visheshya Visheshana, and then Lakshya Lakshana, and the revealer, Lakshana Lakshya, revealer revealed. So now we have two dyads, qualifier qualified, revealer revealed. So what's the difference? What is the, what is this, it's like how lawyers talk, and sometimes, the lawyers, they have to be very, very exact. And then it's all a lot of words. Common people should not understand it. And every sentence starts with whereas. What is this whereas? Whereas, something, something, something. And then, whereas, this is what. Every point starts with whereas. And then so this some kind of a legalese. Is this some kind of a legalese? And so what is it that you're trying to say? What is it, what is the difference between revealer revealed and qualifier qualified? There must be some difference. And, you should just, what is this? What is the difference between the two? Well, Bhashyakara says, Bhashyakara goes back and reminds us of the definition of the Visheshana and the Lakshana. He says, Uchyate, what Uchyate? Sajatiyebhyah eva nivartakani visheshanani visheshyasya lakshanam tu sarvatah eva. And he gives a fantastic example which we have briefly looked at earlier. Avakasha pradatra akasham iti. So Uchyate, it is said means it is understood by everybody, except you perhaps here, sitting here. It's understood by everybody. Everybody knows this very well. And what is it that they know? That sajatiyebhyah eva nivartakani visheshanani visheshasya. So the adjective, the function of the adjective is to distinguish things from its own class. distinguish the substantive from other things like it in its own class. That's why we keep on talking about the blue lily. And then lakshanam tu, whereas the lakshana sarvataha eva what? Nivartakam. Lakshanam tu sarvataha eva nivartakam. So the lakshana is to distinguish it from everything else, not just its particular jati, not just its particular kind, but from all other things. And a fantastic example here, avakasha pradatra akasham. Akasha is, generally we know the word akasha used in the masculine sense, but it is also there it's also a neuter word. Okay, it's also a neuter word, and then it's used in the sense of exactly in this sense, in a kind of a philosophical sense of that which accommodates. It is there. So generally we know akasha as masculine, but here it is akasham. That's why the qualifying word is avakasha pradatra, neuter. Okay, so avakasha pradatra, like kartru, kartrini, kartruni, like that. So avakasha pradatra, avakasha pradatra akasham iti yatha. Lakshana, so therefore he concludes, lakshanartham cha vakyam iti avojama. Iti avojama. Therefore we declare, we stand by whatever we have said, that these three words, this sentence comprising these three words, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, this is a complete sentence. And this sentence comprising these words, Lakshanartham cha, they are to be understood in the form of what? Of an indicatory, revelatory sense, not in the sense of an adjective qualifying it from or distinguishing it from other things of its own class. So then, so the Vishesha, what does the Visheshana do? The particular Visheshanas, they are meant for Nivartakam. They have Nivartakatvam. The adjectives also have Nivartakatvam. They have the Nivartakatvam means what? Negation, dismissal. They are also meant for negating. Negating what? Visheshanantarani. You have to negate certain Visheshas. You have to negate certain qualities from an object in order to distinguish it for itself. It is not red, therefore blue lily. It is not yellow, therefore blue lily. It is not white, therefore blue lily. So there is a negation. Negation from what? Sajatiyebhyah vishayebhyah anyebhyah. Meaning, it is negated from things of its own kind. And therefore, the emphasis, the eva is there. Whenever this eva kara comes, that means it is an emphasis. Sajatiyebhyah eva. Natu sarvebhyah visheshebhyah. It's not from all other things. Like, for example, if you say green leaf, especially in the autumn, that means it has not yet turned yellow, red, brown. So if you say green leaf, then you're only distinguishing it from other fall colored leaves. You're not distinguishing it from cow, right? Whereas Lakshana is different. Like, whereas Lakshana tu Lakshanam sarvataha eva nivartakam. And so therefore what it is, the Lakshana is used to negate that particular thing from everything else. And so it negates everything else, meaning it's only focused on one object. Yatha, like you take even space, akasham. How many akashas are there? If you say two, please see me after class. Choice number one. Okay. And choice number two, you can start guessing where might the other space be. And the answer will come here because one was spaced out. That's why one gave that answer. Okay. That there are two spaces. There's only one space. And that one space is cut up. This space is, fantastic example here. That one space is cut up into room space, and then a hall space, dining space, eating space, and what balcony space. And then here also there is judgment. With regard to space, also we have judgment. Why? There are certain spaces that are sacred spaces, like puja space, sacred space, as opposed to what? Bathroom space, profane space. So is space profane? No. Is space sacred? It's neither sacred nor profane. It simply is. But we have cut up these things. Same thing. That's why it's a wonderful example for Brahman, because in the same manner, we can say, big Brahman, small Brahman, short Brahman, thin Brahman, fat Brahman, old Brahman, young Brahman, referring to various bodies, referring to various minds. Also, we can say sane Brahman, crazy Brahman, all kinds of things. Brahman is one alone. But just like space accommodates, Brahman accommodates. And so, like space is all pervasive, Brahman is everywhere. And like space can be as though made into certain small or big nama rupas. Similarly, Brahman also can be, is available to be seen through the various names and forms. And so, very nice example here. So, Avakasha Pradatra, the one Pradatra means the Pradata, the one who gives. The one who gives what? Avakasha, accommodation. And so, this is supposing if somebody from outer space wants to know what is space, then what do we say? Avakasha Pradatra, Avakasha. We give them Akasha is that, the space is that which accommodates. This doesn't mean that there is another space which doesn't accommodate. Okay, so this is not a Visheshana. It is a Lakshana. It is not a Visheshana at all. There is one single all-pervasive space which accommodates, and nothing else accommodates like space. Because if something else were to accommodate like space, then this would not function as a Lakshana. That which accommodates his space would not function as a Lakshana at all. No, what about Atma? You just said Brahman also accommodates. Yes, but we are here just looking at a Vyavaharika example. And later we will liken it to Brahman because there's no other, we can't liken anything else to Brahman. Here also we as though liken it to Brahman. And so now if I say that which accommodates is space, is it an adjective or is it a revealing word? It's a revealing phrase. It is not an adjective at all. If there were 10 spaces, then it would be an adjective perhaps. But since there is only one space, it is Lakshana, revealing words. Similarly, Brahman, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, therefore are Lakshana. Padanam, Samanadhikaranyam, yes. The words have Samanadhikaranyam, Padarthanam, Visheshana Visheshya Bhava Sambandha, and this Visheshana is not applicable here. So, therefore, Lakshana Lakshya Bhava Sambandha. We have to take it in this way. And this is a very beautiful procedure to bring us to understand each word, how it is used. It's just fantastic. So therefore, what have we concluded? Lakshanartham cha vakyam iti avochama. Therefore, we have concluded that this Brahman which is Jignasyam Brahma, this Brahman which is worthy of being desired to be known, which we are all eagerly waiting and waiting and waiting. And 12 classes later, we are still in the, we're still in the, in vagueness about what this Brahman is. Why? Because we have had a very pertinent tutorial. First, we had the introduction, and then we've been going through a very precise and a pertinent tutorial of how these words are deployed. And in their deployment, we see the pedagogy of the Shastra. How the pedagogy of the Shastra bypasses our own limitations, linguistic limitations, mental limitations, cultural limitations, collective limitations, individual limitations, so to speak. And all of them, we see the methodology of the Shastra. And in order to enjoy the methodology of the Shastra, we are not just seeing the Shastra, we are seeing how the Shastra teaches. This is very, very nice. So it's like enjoying the play, but also being able to being one of the special guests with a pass to go backstage and see how this is set up and how the people are dressing up, and you go to the and you can go and see the actors, how they are, what happens when they forget their lines, who reminds them, all these things. It's just fascinating. So here we are, this is very much, this Upanishad really operates on an ontological plane. Ontological plane means how is it that knowledge is transmitted? How is it that knowledge is known? How is it that, what is, how is it known? How is it transmitted? What are the methodologies used here? It's very, very fascinating. And so, therefore, that is what we have been doing here. Now, equipped with these keys of how to look at these words, which seem adjectival, but we will be doing them a great disservice if we confuse them for adjectives. And therefore, we have to look at them as revelatory words. Even though we have revelatory words grammatically speaking, there is a pun here on the word lakshana. Indicatory words, the revelatory words. Why? What is the double entendre? The double entendre is that if something is revealing, then that means I have to be the recipient of that revelation. In order to be a worthy recipient of the revelation, then I have to have the correct attitude and the demeanor to be taught, the attitude to be instructed. And what is that? Shraddha. You see, the two words, fantastic how the Upanishad has brought us this far. It's just so lovely. So the two words stand out. Arthavatvam. Arthavatvam means it's a reminder that this is really where, even though it looks like a hair splitting exercise in some kind of a language, but it is extremely pertinent and meaningful to your life. Why is it pertinent and meaningful to your life? Because it is what is going to bring you out of the doldrums of sorrow and out of the clutches of anxiety and fear, both of which are called samsara. This is why this is worthy of study. No matter how many times it goes round and round, hair splitting between terminologies. At least that's what we think. So the first word is arthavatvam. And the second word here is, in English, the translation of lakshana, revelation. Revelation means that is what the Shruti has not just the word Satyam Jnanam Anantam, but the entire Shastra has a revelatory function. That's what it does. It doesn't give you anything new. It doesn't invent anything. Why? Because I is already there. And the I is mistaken to be a heap of leaves. This is what happened in India about 10, 15 years ago. It was just a heap of dry leaves. And very soon, people started throwing all kinds of. This was on the way to some kind of a sightseeing place. And so they would just, get their paper cups and drink some juice or coffee or something, and then just crumple that paper cup and just throw it there on this heap of leaves. And then nearby there was a temple, And then the priest of the temple had a dream. I'm getting stifled, somebody said in the dream. And I'm just having all this debris, underneath me, on top of me. Help! And that was all the dream was. And then he didn't know for few days or even weeks what is going on. Why this dream? What is this dream about? And then he went to this, he went by this thing, and suddenly he saw the heap of all this debris. And then he just went, sat down there, and then started to uncover. And there was a beautiful murti, of the goddess. That is how it was. Somebody had just abandoned it. And so this is how it is. That is exactly it is exactly how it is. It's not that the goddess murti, the goddess icon was conjured up, or it was made, or it was produced. So the knowledge that one is non-separate from Ishvara is not produced. It's there under the heap of non-recyclable landfill of all kinds of wrong notions. This is what is the non-biodegradable, non-recyclable landfill of all kinds of notions, toxic notions. I am an idiot. Nobody loves me. I deserve better. Why do you deserve better? No, but that's what I think. I have to get more. I have to have this. I should do this. This is what it is. So that's why it's Lakshana. Lakshana doesn't mean, the what's the word for it? The Visheshana is not even pertinent here. You're not trying to define it from other things of its own class. What merely you're doing is indicating it. And all it needs is an indication because it is already you. It is the you that you love to be. It is the you that you want to be. It is the you that you wish you were. Struggling for air. Struggling to come up for air in the waking state. In the sleep, it's not a problem. Because that complaining you is happily elsewhere. It is the you that you wish to be. It is the you that you think you are. You are convinced you are, but you don't know how to get there. It is the you that you really, really want to discover. That is what is indicated because the I happens to be, unlike this goddess Murti, it is not an object. It is you. It happens to be self-effulgent Atman, self-effulgent you, self-evident you. Therefore, indication. It just has to be pointed. This is all very subtle. That's why revelation, it is not a manufacturing. It is not a discerning from other things like it. Otherwise, Brahman will become one more thing. And you're sick of one more thing. How many things to pursue? That's why you often tell me, I'm very busy. I don't have time to attend classes. I don't have time for one more pursuit. Brahman is not one more pursuit. It is you. It is the pursuit because of not knowing which, you are pursuing other things. That is what that is what it is. That is what is Brahman pursuit. Knowing which, there is no more pursuit. And so therefore, this Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, how should it be read? Lakshanartham cha iti avochama. This is how we say. They are meant to reveal. Reveal means what? It must already be there. They are meant to reveal what already is. And that is being the self-shining I, doesn't need to be described, doesn't need to be differentiated from others of its kind. Because among a whole jagat full of objects, it is the only subject. It is the only thing that it is unlike anything else. It is other than anything else. And there's only one thing, non-dually one, which happens to be you. And so therefore it is not, it is something that is, it is these words Satyam Jnanam Anantam are for showing the Swarupa Pradarshanartham, to reveal the Swarupa of the I. And so therefore what? This is, so therefore Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And this, who understands this? Brahmavid. The Brahmavid, the knower of Brahman, knows. What do they know? I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Or Brahman, which is me, is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And so therefore, this this Brahman is to be known. And how? Through indicatory words. And then a few things about these indicatory words. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Bhashyakara is going to say, I'll just introduce this, and the next time we can jump into this portion of the Bhashya. Very, very interesting. And all this introduction will have paid off very nicely. And so a few introductory remarks about this. So these words, Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And then, first thing he says, he's going to say, is that Satyadi Shabdaha na parasparam sambadhyante. Na parasparam sambadhyante. Meaning, Satyam, the word Satyam, is not defined by Jnanam or by Anantam. So, in that sense, they are adjective like, in the sense, grammatically speaking. Like if I say blue, we'll just take that same example, blue lily, big lily, fragrant lily, blue, big, fragrant lily. If I say, then, the word blue and big do not have anything to do with one another. That is exactly what he means. The parasparam sambadhyante, meaning they're not trying to, they're not trying to qualify each other. They are all as though qualifying Brahman. They are all focused towards that Visheshyam, which is Brahma, that Visheshyam Brahman alone. All of them as though are in service of revealing Brahman. And they are not trying to reveal one another. This is the first thing which is very important to understand. Why? Because because you don't you are not trying to go off on a tangent and try to say, Satyam, is it qualified by Jnanam? Is it qualified by Anantam? That's not what it is. All of them are in the service of revealing Brahma. That's why it is separately said. Satyam Brahma, Jnanam Brahma, Anantam Brahma. Separately. So even if you say Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, even if it is a compound, even if you make a compound of this, we still have to separate the words. And what is the intent? Satyam Brahma, Jnanam Brahma, Anantam Brahma. That means Brahman should be understood by you as Satyam. And then what? And then Brahman should be, so why should we have the word Jnanam? Because there is a necessity for it. Brahman is sentient, so therefore Jnanam. Then why should we say Anantam? Why not just Satyam Brahma, Jnanam Brahma? Anantam separately is also a necessity. Why? Because it has the function, he's going to talk about all this. It has the function of being a niyamaka. Niyamaka means a kind of a definer. This Ananta, this pada, has that, which means limitless, uh, gives some kind of a, what is that? Gives some kind of a shape to the word Satya and Jnana, because it removes limitations from them. And so each word is important. Each word is paying its respects to Brahman, so to speak, by revealing it. And you cannot say Satyam reveals a portion of Brahman, Jnanam reveals another portion of Brahman, because here this Brahman is not in portions. It is because if it were to be in portions, it would just fall apart. It has no parts. It has no parts at all. It is partless. And so, if it is partless, then each word is not highlighting one part of it or one aspect of it, it is revealing the whole. And each word is important because when you understand Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam as Brahman, you have understood Brahman as it's supposed to be. And what is it supposed to be? Me. That's how it is. It is supposed to be just me. That's what you have to say. It is supposed to be only me. That's the only way to understand it. And how to see that, some wonderful passages will come up, and we will pursue this next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.